Hey, how's it going? So today we're gonna talk about motivation. Um, Motivation is basically the main fuel for everything we do in life. If we don't have that drive to do something, if we don't have that something else pushing us to do something, very little, if any, gets accomplished. Okay. Uh, why am I saying this? As some of you know, we started the Step Up Language program almost a month ago, and as it was expected, several people started strong, and then they weren't able to keep up as much. Some are doing very little, some are not doing anything, some didn't even start. Okay, why does that happen? That's very simple, and that is expected with all language courses, if not with all courses in general, because you have different types of people, right? You have those that have that inside energy, have that inside drive, a personal, um, a very personal reason to do something. Some do for passion. For example, I love languages. That's what I do for fun. I like it. I love it. That is what I do to enjoy myself. Right? I know, super geek. But anyway, each person does what they do. Right? Some other people, they look at languages as a means to improve their professional lives or that their academics or because they live in the country, so they have different reasons. Right? If you add to the equation another language, and I mean another language as a third language, for example, the person has their native language and they speak a second language, then you add a third language, you need an extra, even like more tangible motivation to keep you going. For example, my native language is Portuguese, right? My second language is English, which I believe to be pretty fluent. But right now I'm studying Japanese and Amharic. So with Japanese is my lifelong passion. You know, I did martial arts for most of my life, and I grew up with Japanese people. So I really love the language, and it's a shame that I haven't been able to reach proficiency yet, right? But because I have this deep passion and motivation with Japanese, it comes easier to me. And because I had exposure before. Amharic, not so much. And I'm struggling with it because I didn't have exposure, I don't have anybody to study with, material is scarce, and resources are few and far in between. So it is harder to get as much done. And if you don't get as much done, you lose your interest to continue the fight, right? So some people, they don't have any of those factors pushing them to continue. Some of them just feel the necessity to learn a language because they interact with people from a different country. For example, many Americans in US want to learn Spanish because Spanish is the second unofficial language in US, right? As some of you know, US doesn't have an official language, but the majority of people speak English, right? But if you look for the second most spoken language in US, it is by far Spanish, right? So some people want to learn because they want to interact with the Hispanic population in US. But that's it. They don't need it for work, they don't need it for academics, they don't need it for any other reason. So as soon as life provides another priority, they drop the first, which is generally a foreign language if they don't need it. For people that are studying two or three languages, if they don't have a personal drive, something that comes from inside, that is even worse. You know, they'll simply drop. For example, when I was studying Thai several years ago, I didn't have a personal drive to do it. I had it was a challenge, right, that I was doing with a friend, and I had lots of people on the outside kind of pushing me to do it, but I lacked the motivation from inside. So I was doing for reasons less than expected to myself, and I pushed myself too hard. So I went too fast, too hard, without the extra fuel. And what happens if you don't have oil or fuel in your car? You burn out. Your engine's done. So my engine was done for Thai for the longest time. I couldn't touch. Just recently, I've been able to pick up Thai again and look at a little bit over. But even though, even at the circumstances, is a little, it's been a very slow process of getting back up. So motivation is a very, very sensitive little flame that needs to be sheltered at all times. You need to find that motivation to continue. So more and more people will drop, more and more people will give up. But there will be always some people that will continue to move forward because they have this the burning flame of motivation inside of them, and that will keep them on going with their studies. That will keep them acting upon their little challenge or their goal or their personal project. Okay, so if you are one of those that have that personal deep motivation, that flame, you can be the catalytic element that help others learn more, because you can help them to see the light and walk towards that light and progress more. If you are the one that have that flame but you didn't shelter very well and it's kind of dying out, try to find something that will bring it back up. Try to watch a movie in the original language. Try to pick up a book. Try to reattach to an old friend that speaks that language. Something that will rekindle this flame. Okay? If you are one of those that the flame is gone, or if you never had it, try to find one. There's no shame on stopping something that you don't see pleasure, that you don't see a purpose in it. You know, a lot of people drop languages because they are not their priority. They have their work, their family, their other hobbies. Many things can get in the way of studying a language, but try to find something that will get you back. And if you can't find anything that gets you back, just find a language that you love and go for it. If you don't love a language, find something else. It's fine. Language learning is not for everybody, you know. But everybody can do. Everybody can try. But very few people will have that deep passion for it. Okay? And very few people will achieve a superior fluency in the language. Okay, for example, the main reason I'm able to speak to you at this level of communication in English is because I was a missionary. I had to learn English so I could communicate with people, so I could teach them the message that I had. So it was very important for me to communicate in English. So I made my goal, my responsibility. I held myself accountable for it, and I set very specific goals. For 2 years, I studied every day for at least an hour when I was a missionary in order to improve my language skills. I asked questions, I made mistakes, I read different books. I avoided reading in Portuguese. Everything I could read in English, I read in English. If I need to write anything in English, I wrote in English. I would avoid Portuguese because I wanted to improve English. And I welcomed every correction that I got. And I made notes of things that I didn't know, so as to keep that drive and to feed myself to improve that and to reach higher levels. And you can do the same thing. You know, motivation, the flame of motivation can be rekindled anytime, anywhere. You just need to look for that one thing that makes you tick, that makes you happy and satisfied. You know, for example, one of my goals is to read my favorite manga, Senseiya, in Japanese, the whole collection in Japanese. So, and I want to communicate in Japanese really bad. So, I have more than one reason why to learn this language and to put some effort on it. You just need to find your passion, find your feel, and rekindle this flame so you can keep motivated and reach your goals and be satisfied with yourself. Okay? So that's it. If you have any questions about staying motivated when studying languages, or how to rekindle the flame of um, motivation inside of yourself, or how to approach language learning in a different way, just send me a message, leave a comment, like the video if you appreciate the discussion, and subscribe if you want to see more videos like this. Okay, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.